Hey everybody, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. And today is the Saturday show, so we're gonna have some talking points. Although I know I've been adding some talking points to the other ones, which are just supposed to be what sold, but uh yeah, this might be a little bit longer. We'll see. We'll see how we go as I conduct the discussion with myself here. We'll be talking about fee changes and people quitting eBay or quitting reselling. And but I just got back from watching Venom. If you guys are interested in my opinion on that, just wait till it comes out on streaming. Not worth wasting your money and seeing it in the theater because, in my opinion, it was a little boring. It wasn't wasn't the best in the whole trilogy there. And personally, I was still going to see it no matter what in theater, but in my opinion, wait till it comes out on streaming. Okay, so fee changes. Poshmark is changing their fees. They originally went to like a split between the buyer and the seller, paying one half, paying the other half, and apparently they saw a significant drop in revenue or buyers. It's kind of obvious, even though they didn't say that. They didn't say we lost buyers, we lost money during this period. They didn't say that, but it's kind of obvious based on the drastic change that they made. It wasn't because of the outcry. It wasn't because of people saying, this is a bad idea. You shouldn't be doing this here on YouTube. Personalities giving their take on it. It wasn't because of that. It was money. They lost money on what they were doing. They were just like, man, we just saw a drastic, probably drop in buyers, a drop in people, hitting the buy button, checkout button, and that is what created the rush to make the change back to the original structure. Why did they do that initially? Market share. Obviously, their thought process is more sellers will hopefully translate to more buyers. More stuff on the platform will bring more buyers. Kind of the build it and they will come kind of mentality. But as we know from places like Amazon, places like Costco, appeasing the buyer will mean tremendous amount of growth and business and at the end of the day, money. So Amazon just does an amazing job of taking care of the buyers. And sellers are willing to go on there and pay the high fees, deal with the abuse, deal with no customer service, very little customer service. Why? Because of the exposure that you get, the amount of consumers, buyers that Amazon brings to the table. Costco is kind of the same way. That's the brick and mortar version of Amazon. I don't know if you guys realize, but Costco is under almost continuously is under aggressive negotiations with these businesses to put products in their shelves. And they beat them down to get the lowest price. Sometimes they lose money to get the lowest price, highest volume for their consumers, for their buyers, for their customers. They fight for their customers, and these companies are willing to sometimes, lose money to get their items in Costco. Why? Costco brings a huge consumer base. Lots and lots of customers, and what Costco brings to the table, lots of eyes on products. So when they start seeing items in Costco, they're like, wow, I've never tried that before. It's here at Costco. Let's give it a try. Maybe they have a little station there for for samples. They'll go in there, they'll try it, and they'll be like, hey, I saw this here at Costco. They might be out somewhere else. They might pick it up there as well. So the exposure, the amount of customers that these companies bring. How do they get there? By taking care of the buyer. We might not like it as sellers, but taking care of the buyers is what grows a business and makes it not a business that requires consume, which I guess is a lot of them. Almost all of them. Everybody's even business to business. There's a customer there somewhere. So taking care of the buyers is the way to go and is the way to grow. So okay, now moving on to quitting the game, quitting the reselling, or quitting eBay more specifically, because a fairly large, personality here on YouTube, the Philly Flipper. For those of you that don't know, if you guys follow reselling, his channel has probably popped up in your feed, but decided to call it quits on eBay. And he's not completely shutting it down. Yeah, he's letting his store just wind down, but he's not going to be listing on that. So it's technically, it will the traffic on there will go down to a bare minimum, maybe zero as well too, if you don't keep up the activity and or listing. And the primary complaint seems to be that it was a feedback issue, and he experienced a considerable amount of negative feedback on his primary store, opened up a secondary store, and still got a negative feedback on that store. Now, negative feedback, in my opinion, isn't that big of a deal. I know eBay says it doesn't weigh on your store at all, but I am not 100% behind that, or I got to think that negative feedback could have some sort of a weight at some point, but for the most part, if you take care of your customers, take care of your buyers, your negative feedback should remain to a very small percentage, if any. And a few feedback here and there, isn't really going to affect things that much at all, and they give you the option to go in there and respond as well too, which, I don't know, good or bad. I don't know. I have seen somebody on there that actually will go into the feedback, because you can't leave negative feedback for a buyer. I've seen somebody go in there and type in their response to to a buyer, and or not type in their response. I'm sorry. They'll go in there and leave the feedback for the buyer, which you can only leave positive feedback. But at the beginning of their feedback, they'll put a red dot in there. I haven't tried it. I don't really know how you get a red dot in there. I'm pretty sure you could. I haven't attempted to do that because I just automatically just leave my feed. I just click on everything, boom, leave feedback on everything. So I don't really sit there and I don't send out items and then wait for a problem to happen and then leave feedback. I let it all go. Don't really worry about it too much. But the main issue, and one of the reasons why I even bring it up here, is because I kind of want to teach everybody to help, maintain not just finding items you can sell, but maintaining a proper standing with eBay, with your customers, and just help you sell on the eBay platform better. I know some people have fallen into issues with dropping below standard, which is avoidable, and some people just getting really kicked off the platform, which to an extent is avoidable as well too. And some of the more recent ones I've seen where people have gotten kicked off of eBay or banned from eBay, it looks completely 100% avoidable in my opinion. Now the feedback in this instance, so the educational part, he went to try to remove the feedback and they said no. At the time, 2 hurricanes came through his area, which is, eBay will extend or grant you some leeway as far as the shipping time is involved. So you don't get dinged on that. And if you do, you call them up, you let them know. They will remove negative feedback as well too, resulting from, if the result is because of the slow shipping time, they will understand there's issues, and as far as USPS and shipping times and access to your inventory, maybe everything's flooded out. I don't know the whole story, but they will grant you some leeway, and they will take care of you and take care of the health of your store if you are undergoing some sort of huge catastrophe that's out of your control. However, the problem lies in the location of your products. So some people do have their products in a different location than where they actually live. It is not unheard of. It's something that does happen, and then either they probably have people that take care of the shipping for them. Now, in this case, his store, and I did go in to look in it just to because he did mention something about the location in one of his videos, and I went to just double check on my own. And his store location says it's still in Philadelphia, or not in Philadelphia. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania. I forgot exactly where. It's in Pennsylvania. His name is Philly Flipper, so that's why I said Philadelphia. But it's in Pennsylvania somewhere. However, that's not where the items are originating from. That's not where he's shipping them out from. He's shipping them out from Florida. So when he went to go tell eBay, well, they could see where his location is, and his location, according to what he has in there, says Pennsylvania, which there were no hurricanes going through Pennsylvania. The buyer saw that it's coming out of Pennsylvania and will get an estimated arrival time based on that information. It also has to do with how much you get charged for shipping as well too. So based on where you're at. Now, what I gather is that the return address, because you can have a separate, like I was saying, you can have a separate location. You can have your items somewhere, and then you can have your items returned somewhere else you want. But that's not the official location of your products. So you have to make sure that the location of your products is set to exactly where they're at. And your return address, you can set your returns anywhere you want. You could set your returns to, I guess you could probably send them over to the to your local dump if you really want to. But to me, it looks like he had his return set up to some PO box in Florida, where he's at in Florida. That does not change the location of your products when it shows up in an eBay listing. You have to go in there and change the location. And in this instance, it appeared to have, had negative effect on him. He could not get the negative feedback removed due to because his product, according to eBay's eyes, were not in Florida. And the buyer got an estimated delivery based on them being in Pennsylvania. I keep wanting to say Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So what you have to do, change your location, go into the address, go into your account, make sure that the location where your items are located, your actual location where the items are at, is in there, and your returns, wherever you want to send your returns, you can change the date you change the address to wherever you want your returns to go to. So, most people who are just doing a few items here and there generally just have them sent back to their house. I definitely recommend getting a separate a PO box or some sort of business. You can use like a UPS store. I think a UPS store you can get items delivered there. There are other mailboxes. Is mailbox, etc. Postal annex. If you have one in your area, is mailboxes, etc. still one? I don't know if it's still one, but there are other places you can get a separate mailbox from your house, and that's what I would recommend doing. Okay, enough about that, and on to what's sold. Okay. Right, we got some cool items here. Did I bring something up already? I think I already have one set up here. Okay, let's go. All right, I already have the window all set to go here. Place card holders. I don't think I've mentioned this in a while. I may have mentioned it in a video or not. Place card holders surprisingly do incredibly well. These are ceramic ones. The ones that I tend to find the most are stainless steel, and the last ones, if I remember selling, were fortune cookies, little fortune cookies, loose. I tried, if I find a brand new, even better, but these were just loose sitting there. Really cool. A couple of, they like have peach colors, but they're actually pears. And then a couple of apples and some grapes. Kind of cool. And very lightweight. What do they sell for? I mean, you may or may not be shocked to see what these sold for, but I mean, it's not crazy. It's not like we made a ton of money on these, but they did sell for pretty good money. Monies. Dollars. Oh, I wasn't even prepared here. Just type it in, make it fast for myself. These sold for $27.68. And let's see, they paid $6.33 shipping. So they probably went somewhere pretty close. But place card holders do incredibly well. Now, not necessarily every place card holder. Anything like just plain generic little, wire ones, no, I would stay away from. You gotta get the cool ones. Things like Sea Life. I've sold different Sea Life ones, seashells, fortune cookies, like I said. There were some other ones that were like shaped like rocks that were pretty cool. These ceramic ones, a fruit, they got it. It's all about the subject matter here, because not all place card holders are going to sell as well as these ones did if they're just blank generic place card holders. These ones sold because they're fruit. It's the subject matter. And not only that, there's no brand name on these. There's nothing to go on. There's not even I think I might have put that they're made in China because I feel they're made in China. But there's nothing to go. There's not even a location where they were made. They're just going solely off the subject matter here. So dinner guest, because you would probably use these for some sort of a guest event, an event you're having. You're bringing people, to your house. You're bringing people out somewhere, and you put place cards. We did place cards for a wedding, but I was like, to me, I don't really care where people sit or who sits next to who. Just sit down. Plus, everybody gets all, everybody gets up, drinks, and has a good time, and nobody ends up in their original seats. So, in my opinion, a waste of time. But people pay up for these things if you get the right ones. Look out for fruit, place card holders, hand-painted. Were they hand-painted? Who's going to dispute me on that, really, again? I don't know if they're hand-painted or not. Who's going to dispute me on that? They appear to be hand-painted. Dinner guest, place card holders, apple, grapes, pear, decor. Even though those colors are not pear, I don't think those colors are pear colors. You guys let me know in the comments. It looks more like a peach to me, but they're not shaped like a peach. So, but really cool. We have $27 to almost $30 for these little place card holders. And generally, I'll find them at Goodwill in a baggie somewhere, usually for a few bucks, $2-3 at the most. They're not usually priced up that much. Sometimes the stainless steel ones are, but these ones, they're super lightweight. And I think I put 2 pounds in the listing because they're kind of fragile, and I wanted to make sure I had enough packaging material so they can survive the trip. They definitely went in a box, 975 box inches, that is. Okay. Really cool. My nose is a little stuffy right now. So if you see me breathing through my mouth, it might be why. I don't even know why. Maybe the theater was a little dusty. Okay. Here's something. Now this one here, I threw this into a bundle at the flea market. I was like, I'll throw it in there. Why not? Star Trek: The Next Generation meets the X-Men. I mean, like, what? I didn't even realize they made this book. Star Trek. I was like, what? Star Trek: The Next Generation and the X-Men? More than likely paid less than $1 for this item. I just thought it was cool. I was like, I'll throw it in the bundle. More, icing on the cake, so to speak. And what did this thing sell for? I have this one. Where is it at? This one sold for, come on, Why am I not seeing these things? It's right there. Okay, so this is sold for $8.90. Shipping charge was $5.62. Matter of fact, the buyer should have actually made a little over, I think, a little over $1.50 on the shipping, because I did not select media mail. This should have probably gone media mail, but it went by way of Ground Advantage, and so when I adjusted for the actual shipping, I made like a buck something on it, so that was pretty good. Either way, Star Trek Next Generation versus the X-Men, Planet X, Marvel Comics, comic book heroes. Some great keywords to throw in there. Obviously, I'm trying to describe exactly what it is, and then throw in a few extra keywords with heroes, comics. It's a book, Marvel. A cool book. I didn't, like I said, I didn't even know this existed, so I didn't even read this book. Although I have read many Star Trek books and X-Men comics. I'm actually a bigger Star. Many people think, they think like, oh, you're Star Wars, you're the Star Wars guy, you love Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. But in actuality, I'm a bigger Star Trek fan than I am a Star Wars fan. It's just that I had all the toys, when, back in the day when they came out for Star Wars, back in the 80s and 90s, more 80s. I really didn't have any of the 90s ones, because by then I was kind of getting out of toys. But a lot of the 80s toys I had for Star Wars, and there really, really wasn't. I think they had some like the Mego ones, but little plush ones. Yeah, too much like a doll in my opinion. But I did have a lot of the Star Trek action figures later on in life, when they started coming out with those, when Playmates started releasing those. But bigger Star Wars fan because of the toys. But Next Generation, one of my all-time favorite shows. I've seen every single episode. I have every single episode. Really cool. Favorite character, of course, Geordi LaForge. One of my favorite characters in the whole series. But they're all really, really cool. But a cool book. $8.90. So don't expect to get way too much for this. You definitely want to spend $1 or less on this. Throw it into a bundle. If you see it lying there, these are the items that you want to just throw on top. Be like, hey, can you add this in there? If I throw it in on top. You already got your big profit items in there. They'd be like, I'll take this here, maybe this here. Little items that won't really look like they're adding any value to the bundle, but they give you an extra $5 to $10, on top, profit on top of already what you're getting. So, like I said, icing on the cake, the icing part. Okay. Even though I don't really care too much for icing, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a I think I mentioned this before. I'm not really a sugar person. More of a salt and savory. What am I doing here? Oh yeah, I got my windows all mixed up. I have windows over here. I have my other screen over there that I'm managing as well too. So, screen. Too many screens open. And then I have a stuffy nose, so that's annoying. Okay. Now, here's an interesting piece. And I picked this up because I don't like clowns, first of all. Not that I have a phobia or anything. Not that I'm going to go running for the doors. I just don't like clowns. And I saw this on there, and I liked the actual mechanism. It's a music box, and where it says little clown is actually a little drawer down there. So when you remove the drawer, it starts the song on the back, the wind-ups on the back of this. It was just really cool. I mean, I wish it was different. I wish the subject matter was different, but they just moved and they spinned. And if you look at the data on these things, if you look these up, technically you should be leaving it behind. It's not going to be a good seller, but it's still sold. Did I say? Yeah, I already told you what the book sold for, but it's still sold. It still sold pretty well. And again, this was a flea market bundle item. So we didn't pay that much for it. And this sold for, I don't know why I am not finding any items. $35.74. And it's not too big. $11.98 is what they spent on shipping. It'll definitely be less than that. I think I marked that as a $11 and something cents. I more than likely marked that for a 4-pound item. We'll just see where it's going. Woohoo! It's actually going international. All right. This one was just actually purchased, so that's why I'm kind of excited, because I have not seen the actual ad, where this is going. So international shipping means it's all done. It's all complete. There's no takebacks when it's international shipping. So really cool item. Glad it's going out. It was just a cool mechanism. I really like the mechanism on it. And if you follow the data, like I said, if you follow the data, if you're looking at, sell-through rate, it'll tell you not to buy this thing, not to touch this thing, leave it behind. But it's still, you could still sell it. You could still make money on this thing. You just got to price it right. The other ones I thought were priced a little bit too high, in my opinion. Yes, it's cool. Yes, it's vintage. But music boxes in general just don't really sell that well. So they really have to be something special and bring something special to the table. And clowns as well too. People hate clowns. People have a phobia of clowns. But there are people that love clowns as well too. So really cool item. Still sold it. Still out the door. We're still making money. My stuffy nose is really irritating me right now. It's only on one side. I don't even know why. I'll probably have to go take some allergy medicine again after I'm done here. The next piece is Native American pottery, actually signed. It's horsehair pottery, so it has like the lines, and it kind of easy to spot. You'll see these weird lines that don't really have any rhyme or reason in the actual pottery, and more than likely it's horsehair pottery. Once you see it, you're gonna keep seeing it all the time. Not that it is particularly the best thing to pick up all the time, but because this is a Native American, it was signed by the artist. Also, too, it's a Kokopelli, which is Native American deity, typically associated with childbirth or fertility, but it's also associated with spring, with, the music is more, he's playing a flute, and the music is, the music that the deity plays is really associated with joy, good fortune, bringing in the harvest, not harvest, bringing in, new life. The wintertime, it was always, prior to what we have nowadays, winter was not the best time of the year. People would have to prepare for winter. You'd have to get all your crops and start storing food away. It was a tougher time. And so when spring was finally coming, if they lived in snowy areas, the snow melting away, and you start to see, green grass, you start to see trees blooming, that was more of an uplifting time. And this, deity to Native Americans was incredibly important, is to be ringing in that time of year, ushering in that time of year of, growth and birth, and, like animals and stuff that, during the springtime, you start to see, a lot more animals, reproduction, stuff like that. So, very important to Native American culture. And actually, to help with a little bit of good luck and good fortune and, rebirth, I do have, oops, you can't even see it, my little Native American ring I always wear. Here, maybe we'll do that. Put on a little pinky, maybe. Well, can you guys see that there? Pretty cool little piece I have there. And one I always wear. What's on the opposite hand is a alien. Cool alien head. I switch them out from time to time depending on how I feel, but I do like my alien UFO conspiracies and all that good stuff. Really cool. But really cool piece. What did it sell for? What did it sell for? That's what you really, really want to know. And just because I can't seem to be locating these items right away, I'm just going to search them by name. $32.43. $11.35 is what they paid for shipping. But, obviously I put the name of the artist. It was stamped on here. Horsehair pottery, Kokopelli, the name of the deity that this sculpture represents. Native American, fertility, harvest, signed piece. We put if the piece is signed, I put signed. On second thought, I probably shouldn't have put harvest because harvest is typically associated with the latter part of the year. I should have put spring in there, which in hindsight, as you noticed, as I was talking, I started saying harvest, and I didn't necessarily mean to say harvest, and that's probably what happened here in the listing, but it's still sold. Now that I'm looking at it, I see that I put harvest in there. I shouldn't have done that. I should have put spring. Oops. Still got sold, though. A little bit of scotch today, even though it's in a Maker's Mark. You guys can't even see that. Even though it's in a Maker's Mark, a little bit of scotch for the evening, a little nightcap. But cool piece, cool piece. You definitely got to know your stuff. You got to research your items. Back in the day, we had Britannica. We had the Encyclopedia Britannica back in the day. That's how we did our research. There was no internet. Or if it did, it was at 56K, which was, snail's pace compared to now. But, there's just so many more tools nowadays to do all your research. I mean, Google Image, it's like, I think I said in my other video, just be cautious when you use Google Image and make sure it's giving you the appropriate data. Just remember, it's pulling from information that people are putting in there, and people make errors. So, but it's still an incredible, great resource to use. We have so much power in the palm of our hands. These phones have so much power. Did you even see that? So much power here. So much power right here in this phone. It's a great tool that you can use to help make money. You want to know exactly what you're selling so you can describe it appropriately. Even though I kind of made a mistake there in the listing, but you can research, everything on the fly when you're out and about. Do all your research and know your items. Obviously the feel and stuff like that. You gotta be out there on the ground. But at least you take an image search, and look it up and get as much information as you can, because that's really, really going to help you sell the item. And keep your eye out for more. What else? And the last piece here, I sell I sell a lot of belt buckles, and this one is really cool. But why did I present this one to you? Because here's another piece with no data. There's no sales history to support this sale. Technically, if I was looking at the data, looking at sell-through rate, this should not sell. This should not be an item that will sell, but it's still sold. How do I know this? 25 years of experience. That's how I know this. And me just selling belt buckles. I sell a lot of belt buckles. I try to pick up belt buckles. They tend to be priced rather high, because most belt buckles are going to be right around the $15 to $20 range, depending upon how cool it is, in my opinion. But this is a really cool one. This one actually went for a little bit more than typical. I was kind of using the name Jose Cuervo. I was hoping that name would kind of push this item to sell a little bit quicker and for a little bit more. But what did it sell for? $22.81. So a little bit above average, in my opinion, for a belt buckle. And this was really, really super lightweight. It wasn't in the best, it wasn't like of the best quality that I'm typically used to in the belt buckles that I do pick up. Very cheap, which means it was probably thrown in some sort of a gift box. I'm not much of a tequila drinker, so I don't really pay attention to what kind of gift boxes they do have, because I'm always looking out for gift boxes when it comes to whiskey. because I do like to collect barware, whiskey branded stuff, distillery stuff, not so much tequila stuff. So I don't know. This more than likely, in my opinion, came with a bottle of Jose Cuervo, but the material is very, very cheap. It's still metal, but it wasn't very done very well. It was just done as probably like some sort of a. It's more like a souvenir type of piece, but still sold for 22 something dollars. Again, this was a throw-in at a flea market. I remember exactly. Uh, Again, this is icing on the cake. Icing on the cake is what this piece is. And we have Jose Cuervo Tradicional, belt buckle, Mexicano, tequila, vintage. There was no marking on this to say it was even vintage. So who's gonna, vintage police cannot come after me for this because there's no proof that it's vintage or not vintage. I'm going off vintage because I didn't see any out there. So, and then the colors. I'm going with the colors, silver and gold, to help get it sold. But really cool. It's actually a fairly large belt buckle. I don't really sell belt buckles of this size. They are a little bit smaller than this one, but really cool. Really cool piece. We got $22 some change for it. What was the shipping on that? I didn't say. $6.66 is what the shipping cost was on that piece. So, which means it was I listed it for 13 ounces. It did not weigh 13 ounces, but again, I'm making a little bit of money on the shipping, which will help offset the cost of the shipping supplies. So, really cool piece. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about the discussion about eBay, people quitting eBay, quitting reselling. What's going on with these companies? Why are they making so many drastic changes, so quickly and so like violently to each direction? Let's close this little window out. And that's it. We'll see you in the next video.